Hey, I'm Brian Van, SportbikeTracker.com, and today we're going to cover what it takes to clean up some of your crashed safety gear. This is Max's stuff. He fell down a couple times at Brighton in the rain a couple weeks ago. Sorry for laughing at it. It's funny. Now I'm going to show you the steps that we would take to make this look better than it currently does. Okay, let's first talk about the products we're going to use to do this and really what this is. In the case of the black marks that are on the suit and also on his boots, that is simply rubber from the racetrack. You gotta remember, when you're on a dry track with race tires or even hypersport tires, you're transferring rubber constantly from the tire surface to the racetrack, especially when you have a couple of good dry days in a row that you're out on track riding. The rubber adheres to the surface of the racetrack. It can be washed off or worn off, of course, right? And then the tires that are on the bike actually interact with the rubber that's on the track, and that's when they talk about a track coming in over a couple of days. That's really how it happens, transfer of rubber. So the stuff that you see here on his suit and on his boots, that for the most part is going to be rubber that is transferred from the track to the products that he was wearing when he crashed. We want to do this twofold. We need a cleaner that is not so harsh that it damages the products, right? Or damages screen printing on these products, because all this stuff is screen printed to a certain degree. So you don't want it to clean off that ink, but you want it to be able to clean off the leather. What I found that works really good for that is going to be the Maxima Suspension Clean. I realize it says Suspension Clean on it. Forget about that. Don't worry about it. This stuff has a ton of great uses. We use it so many different places while cleaning up our motorcycles and as you're about to see our gear. This will dry the surface of the leather to a certain degree, and you want to try and, negate those drying effects with a product like this Motul Perfect Leather. This is meant for a light cleaning, like say you've got bugs and stuff on the suit or the jacket, the boots that you want to clean off. This will help to clean those off while conditioning at the same time. So this will be step 2. Step 1 is, let's see if we can get all the black shit off. There are harsher cleaners you could use. You could use like a denatured alcohol-based brake clean. And that's going to clean the black stuff off real quick, but it's also very hard on the surfaces. So you want to try and avoid that if at all possible. Just look at that. In just a couple seconds here, you can see that this is cleaning up quite nicely. Are we going to be able to get it back to a perfect state? Let's be realistic. That's probably not going to happen. But we'll at least be able to get it to look a whole hell of a lot better than it does right now with a little patience as well as a little elbow grease. Okay, so for an area like this, if you want to try something more aggressive, okay, do not use this on any of the screen printed parts, but start small. And this is, just a brake clean now. So it's a little more aggressive. So you can see the difference that I get between that and the suspension clean. What I would really recommend doing is stick with something like the suspension clean and just invest the time necessary to get it cleaned up. Okay, there's a quick before and after on just one of those sleeves, and that sleeve was really blackened up. You can see back here, this is scuffs now, right? So that's gonna stay. You could get leather paints if you want to fix that up. I'm not going that far. You see here in the stretch panel, that cleaned up quite a bit as well. All right, let's give the boots a shot now. We've got the suit in a pretty decent spot. See how we make out here. It's a real big rubber transfer on this right boot. We're going to stick with the suspension clean. It just seems to be a lot less aggressive. The brake clean will definitely take that screen printing off. In the end, you're not going to be able to get to a brand new, hey, they look as good as they did before I fell down in them twice place. But I do think, if you want to invest a little bit of time in maintaining your stuff, this is worth doing. It's quite likely, he could go the rest of the season and not fall down again. just that little bit of wiping, I think that made quite a difference already. Onto the gloves now. Here's a little beforehand. Right, mainly on the TPR portion of the cuff, so we're just going to clean that off a little bit. And then we'll be ready to condition all the stuff. What I found is that the plastic can be a little challenging in some of the areas where a little tougher to clean up, especially if it's kind of ground in there, scratched in. You can see here with minimal effort, I mean, that already looks 100% better, right? These gloves are still good to be reused. Okay, now let's move on to the last phase, which is just going to be the final clean, with a little bit of conditioning. There's probably a ton of stuff out there on the market you can use. This is just that Motul Perfect Leather. We've got it on the site, had it here in stock. I'm going to apply a fairly generous amount, especially in the areas where I cleaned it, because it does this, the cleaners dry the leather out, and what you don't want to do is create a situation where, you've dried it out so much that it's just not capable of protecting you. So, fairly generous amount. We're just going to kind of wipe the suit down, wipe the boots down, wipe the gloves down. Let it sit on there for a little bit, and then we'll come back and kind of buff it off. Okay, we're all done. Final step was the Perfect Leather. I cleaned the entire suit all the way around for me. See, we still got some white fuzzies here on the stretch fabric because I used a cotton towel wiping that stuff off. That'll blow off. That's no big deal. But the suit's conditioned. It's cleaned. See, the front of it there looks good. No crash on the chest. Here's what the arm looks like now. Caleb will show you before and after. Here's the other side. At the end of the day, does it look perfect? No, it doesn't look perfect, but he also crashed in it twice. That looks a whole heck of a lot better. We did want to send it out and get his name put on it. Maybe we'll do that, maybe we won't. Took the time to condition the whole suit, which is something that we probably all should do. Because remember, the softer and more supple the hide stays, the stronger it's going to be. If, in fact, you do have an accident, it's going to work better. The boots, got a little Sharpie invested here in the toe sliders. Those look better. They cleaned up really good, and it gave me an opportunity to look at his gear and see, is it in as good a shape as I thought it was? And this stuff is all ready to go. The Missile held up great. SuperTech R boots held up great, and so did the GP Pro R3. Really happy with all of it. Once again, if you watch the other stuff that we did, the heart and soul of the safety gear kit, if you can afford it, it's going to be that Alpine Stars Tech Air vest. That really, on that first crash he had, that one was a little bit bigger. It did a great job. He said it was like landing in a foam pit at a trampoline park, so that's pretty cool. So there you have it. What did I use? Suspension clean from Maxima. That stuff's, it's pretty mild. You can use this to clean up a lot of things on your bike. This is a great thing if you're riding sport bikes to have in your kit, just to clean things up, such as a suit. If you get all the rubber marks and stuff on it, works great on the bike too. The undertail areas where all the shit gets flung up there, fantastic. Everybody's got a Sharpie. You can see what I was easily able to do, just black out that stuff. It just looks a little bit better instead of buying new toe sliders just because he fell down. And then this Motul Perfect Leather. This is something great. If you have leather apparel in your riding kit, buy a bottle of this and just use it periodically. Now that I see how good his actually looks after I wiped it down, I'm going to wipe my suits down as well. Mine aren't crashed in, thankfully, and hopefully they won't be crashed in. But it'll be nice to get some of the bugs off and condition it just a little bit. I'm Brian Van, SportBikeTrackGear.com.